SEAL Team 6 have vowed to hunt down every enemy of the Trump regime. The president decides that his rival is a corrupt person, and he orders the military to assassinate him. Is that within his official acts? From what we can see, that could well be an official act.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. And you wonder why people are out there trying to assassinate the former president of the United States. I mean, you saw that little cartoon propaganda video. That's what weaponizes people. It's a cartoon, so it's definitely probably more targeted at kids. Scare them, be like, Mom, why is Donald Trump such a bad person? You know, it's like, well, just because he's an evil billionaire, eat the rich, sweetie. But yeah, I mean, again, people are wondering why there are so many people weaponized against Donald Trump. And if you haven't seen the topic of today's video, Iran or PSYOP, who's behind the Trump assassinations. And they let this guy in. I can't think of the guy's name at the moment. What's the dude's name, Chad?
Oh, you would ask me. Something. I'm blanking on it right now. I had it memorized now.
Something 9/11.
Yes, basically.
But here's the deal. This guy got into the United States. They knew he was on a watch list. The FBI didn't screen him. What's going on here? Like, we couldn't keep this guy out because it would have been looked at as mean, hurtful, or racist to be like, hey, this guy has known connections to the Iranian government. Maybe we shouldn't let him in the country. And then he allegedly had ties with Iran, and they gave him the green light to offer up $1 million for an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. And you wonder why people are actually going for this. Now, I don't know how they're actually going to wire this money to anybody. I mean, the government supposedly watches any transactions done in America over $600. The IRS is supposed to be supposedly watching that stuff. So again, this goes to show you that the FBI, these three-letter agencies are not doing a good job, nor do they care. Again, this is what happens whenever racism's the world's greatest sin. It's like, well, we have to let all immigrants in because if we don't, we'll look like we're racist bigots. What if those immigrants have ties to Islamic extremist groups? What if they have ties to Hispanic cartels, gangs? Just like, just let them all in. Like America, again, it's like the left views America as the church, as like the Catholic Church or something. It's like, just walk to the doors and you're immediately absolved of all your sins and it's a clean slate. It's like, that's not how immigration works. It's not like giving your life to Christ. Like when you come to America, you're not just boom, American. You have to accept our values. You have to accept what this country stands for. And again, the left doesn't like what this country stands for. Truth, freedom, America, the American way. Like they don't even know what that is. Truth, justice, and the American way. They don't care about free speech. Again, a lot of these people coming from these countries, they don't have freedom of speech from their countries. So not having freedom of speech really isn't going to bother them. Now, if they're smart, it will, because that's why they're hopefully why some of them left. But that's the thing. The left makes you, of course, that's why they left. They want better lives. But again, if we're importing a group of people here that don't care about our laws, don't care about our principles, don't care about the Constitution, it's like they won't care when these things are voted away. Second Amendment, we never were allowed to have guns from my country, so why would this country need guns? I wonder why. So again, an ignorant immigrant population is going to be imported, and they're going to vote away all the rights that we have in this country. So it's just a sad state of affairs. This is the modern Democratic Party. And again, a massive failing of the three-letter institutions, FBI, CIA. They're all just, they don't care. And they clearly had these guys, all of them, on watch list. I mean, the original shooting with Trump, when he had his little fist raised and held up high, like the picture in the thumbnail, that kid was there hours in advance, scouting the place out with the dang rangefinder. Why was he allowed to do that? Why did the CIA cower in fear whenever instead of like charging the roof, they were just like, they went up there, they saw the guy had a gun and go, and they climbed back down the ladder like, what do we do? Like, well, I don't know, man. It's your job to handle these situations.
Got his name here. It is Asif Merchant. Asif Merchant is his name.
Merchant.
And yeah, he was arrested the day before the shooting at Pennsylvania, at Butler, Pennsylvania, that Thomas Crook's kid. So now there's been a bunch of stuff brought up saying, who has he talked to? Is it possible that he talked to this Crooks kid? Is it also possible that he talked to the most recent shooter? And that's the news. He's trying to pay people up to $1 million. He's been approved supposedly by allegedly by the Iranian government to give up to $1 million to assassinate Donald Trump. And the FBI was aware of this, alerted the Secret Service the day before. So he was arrested the day before the Butler shooting, and he was supposed to have increased security detail. Didn't happen, and all the people who were there in his Secret Service detail were briefed on the threat, and they decided to not do anything when all these little events happened. Yeah. The kid with the finding with
this
the
is why that chick who was in charge that we did that video about a while back, like, she should have stepped down immediately. This is all her fault. You know, it's like she's the one that makes those decisions. But again, she was like, "Oh no, I don't see that I'm to blame." She stepped down now, but this is months later. You know, so it's just a sad state of affairs. The three-letter agencies don't give a darn. You know, the agencies don't communicate well, and like I said, these people clearly are partisan hacks, and they don't actually care about their jobs. They care about their political biases.
And let's go on with the supposed threat that this was approved by the Iran government, attacking a current frontrunner to be president and a former president. Wouldn't that be considered an act of war?
Yeah. Well, and again, is this even real? Like, is this guy, like, why is this coming out now? Seriously, like, part of me thinks, you know, this is why the other title, it's Iran or PSYOP. Is this just a government PSYOP put on by the CIA and the FBI being like, hey, this is going to give us justification for war with Iran? Again, like, is this guy even a real person at this point? Like, or is he just a patsy that they're saying did all this? You know, as much as I'd like to say we can trust the three-letter agencies, I don't think we can. So I don't know. It's just we are really stuck in a rock and a hard place, especially with media trust being at an all-time low. Like I said, I mean, with that little propaganda cartoon you just saw, it's just like, this is the world we're living in now, where people like, like literally, Democrats would be like, wow, that is the most profound, accurate cartoon I've ever seen of Donald Trump. I mean, how terrifying is that?
4-year term. The Constitution may be overturned. The president may remain in office far beyond his 4-year term.
Like, did that actually happen? Like, they go, oh, J6. Like, Trump stepped down. He said peacefully, we'll go and we'll fight like hell, but we'll do so peacefully. We'll peacefully assemble. And they go, that's a dog whistle for
those who
kill
have
them all.
Been wronged.
It's like, what are you talking about? I mean, again, if only racists can hear this dog whistle, how are you, the media, able to hear it? It's because we understand Trump and his followers. It's like, I don't know. It feels like you understand. Again, it's like they're God. It's like we understand humans and human emotions and human reality better than they do. But again, Jonathan Haidt, wrote a book about this. It's like the right understands the left better than the left understands the right. And people are like, no, we understand conservatives. They're just dumb idiots. It's like, no, you guys don't. You can't even rationally put forth an argument what the conservative positions are. And I'm not talking about moderate Democrats. I'm not talking about you. You probably we're more like, again, we're more alike than we are different when it comes to political perspectives. We just disagree on how to get there. But like people on the left specifically the far left will go, they can't even rationalize the right's worldview, as where the people on the right can rationalize the far left worldview. They can be like, yes, we understand how they came to that. They're just very wrong and very dumb. Is where people on the left go, their thought process is irrational. And they go, they're evil. They're evil. The people who disagree with me, they're evil. And we have to stop them because we have to create heaven on earth. It's like, one, can't do that. Two, the policies you're advocating for are going to require, like what happened in Mao's China. A lot of people and a lot of blood is going to have to be spilled in order for you to create your paradise here. And even again, if you know anything about history, is China the great paradise of the world? Is there anybody there like desperate? I can't wait to go live in China.
Is North Korea the great safe haven of the world? All these socialist,
Communist countries, yeah. No. So again, there's nobody lining up to go immigrate to China. I know Tim Walz likes going over there and taking his school and be like, isn't this place great?
Yeah.
But they're not great. There's nothing really great about China. It's a paper dragon, China. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. As much as I want to believe what we're being told in the news and the media about this Iranian thing, it's like, okay, well, that's cool. I guess this all makes sense. But again, I think they're just trying to, I think the reason all this is coming out now is because on the off chance Trump wins, they're trying to take a crap on the dinner table for him to take over. Like, oh, we left an upper decker here for you, Mr. Trump. Good luck trying to find it.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to crap on the dinner table, walk away, and be like, deal with the problem now. Yeah. We're going to leave you in the worst. Like, we're gonna pump billions of dollars into the Ukraine war. We're going to pump billions of dollars into the Middle East. We're going to potentially get involved in this Israel-Palestine conflict. That way, we're just launching crap everywhere. That way, he's dealing with a million different problems the second he walks in, as he's trying to get his new cabinet established.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like I said, literally, I mean, it's the perfect plan. They don't have to they take zero accountability. They can just be like, we're taking a dump on the dinner table. We're going to walk out of here, and we're going to make sure we turn off the AC and the vents, and it's going to smell real bad in this place. Yep. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, it also comes up to the fact that we haven't even really touched on yet, is that our enemies want this particular president terminated.
Mm-hmm.
If this is, let's say that it is foreign nations trying to do this, why wouldn't they want Kamala Harris? Because they see her and view her as a weak, pathetic leader.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want a strong leader in office. They want someone that they can take advantage of.
Yeah.
And that's another part of this that nobody thinks of. And it's the same thing. Like, there's also a Ukrainian scandal going on. I mean, we kind of touched on this with that guy that he went over to Ukraine, and they're saying that the Ukrainian government literally has an article, I'll try to find it here real quick, in Politico, that the Ukrainians tried to help the Hillary campaign back in the 2016 election.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been debunked. It's a true story. So if the Ukrainians were all in for the Democrats, there is a little bit of possibility that there could be some type of allegations of the Ukrainians being like,
they're election interferers, just like the Russians were.
Exactly. So there's proof that there's election interference. They were tampering with the election to try to get the Democrats elected, just like the freaking, like, 2 Facebook posts that the Russians posted that said this affected the election and caused dumb Republicans to vote for Donald Trump back in the 2016 election. But Ukraine has done it as well, but it's not bad when they do it.
Yeah, I mean, Ukraine's an ally. They're allowed to tamper in our elections. It's fine.
Exactly. But getting back to the point is, if Ukraine was also sent that other guy, to assassinate Donald Trump, which I'm not saying that he did, it's just allegedly, if they allegedly did something like that, that also means that Ukraine is in the, or the Democrats are in the pocket for Ukraine, or vice versa, the Ukrainians are in the pockets of the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I mean,
again,
we already know that Biden's administration was already in league with them. The whole Hunter Biden Burisma thing. It's like the thing that people said was real. It's like Joe Biden literally said, well, son of a gun, I got the guy fired, and they put a new DA in place that day. Or we were going to deny them billions in aid money.
Yep.
Because they were investigating Burisma a company in which was an oil company that his son Hunter was on the board of, basically collecting millions of dollars off of because he had connections with the dad. He has no business being in the oil industry. He has no business because the only thing Hunter was on the board for was because he could leverage his connections through his daddy.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, again, Hunter didn't go to college for oil or natural gas. He has no knowledge of the stuff. They just go, we're going to put you on the board of this, and you're just going to help us, get American funding on this, right? It's like,
Again.
oh yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, again, it's Democrats scratching the backs of people that they've been in league with all along is what's going on. And if that is what this guy did, the second shooter, I've already forgotten his name too off the top of my head. I remember Crooks and that new guy now, but whatever the other guy's name is, the
57-year-old guy who just got put in jail for having child, P-word.
Images on his computer. But that guy, if that guy did get like orders from the Ukraine, some Ukrainian official or, hit group or whatever, what's going on here? Why would we want we want the president that's trying to be assassinated? I mean, every president that has attempted to be assassinated has been elected.
Yeah, I mean, if Ukraine is trying to take out one of our presidents, I mean, does this mean we're going to war with Ukraine?
Yeah. Does this mean that they are our ally?
Yeah. It's like, well, we like your Democrat nominees. We don't like your Republican nominees. So, but I mean, again, they know that if Trump gets in office, they might lose quite a bit in aid money that they're getting.
Yep.
So, I mean, they have a vested interest in seeing the outcome of our election. Like, that's awful. Other countries are they're like, why is it that whenever Russia interferes in their election, they go and they put literally, like, they spent a couple $100,000 on Facebook ads. That's all the Russians did. But the Ukrainians do the exact same thing. No big deal. So it's just crazy. It's just a sad, sad state of affairs. And again, Ukraine has a vested interest in seeing the Democrats win because their financial benefit. Because, I mean, again, you think, but who's paying for Vladimir, or it's Zelensky, right?
Yeah, Zelensky.
Who's paying for Zelensky's mansions? We are, the American people. Who's paying for his cars? Who's paying for his multiple trips over here to America to sign bombs? Like, he literally signed a bomb like he was signing a basketball, like LeBron James was signing a basketball for a fan. They're signing bombs in factories in Pennsylvania to go drop on Russians. It's like, that's insane. Like, they're signing bombs with their names. Like, yeah, this is the courtesy of, made in America, courtesy of Zelensky.
Here it is right here. I just pulled up that PolitiFact article right here.
Go for it.
Ukrainian efforts to sabotage Trump backfire. So, even if their efforts didn't work, right here, that the Ukrainian efforts to sabotage Trump's campaign backfired. And this was back in 2017.
Again. So, the Russians were, allegedly, the Russians' election interference came out in their favor, and the Ukrainians do the same thing, and it doesn't come out in their favor, so the Ukrainians are justified, but the Russians aren't.
Yeah.
Again, it's all nonsense. The ads that the Russians did, they did the meta-analysis on it. They go, it didn't sway anybody. Like, I mean, they literally wasted a couple, like $300,000 in Facebook ads to try to sway an election, and it made its way to, like, 10 people who actually clicked on it, and everybody else would just looked at it, said, oh, get this ad out of my way, and keep scrolling.
Yep. I mean, look at the top thing right here. Donald Trump wasn't the only presidential candidate whose campaign was boosted by former Soviet bloc country. Ukrainian government officials tried to help the Hillary Clinton and undermine Trump by publicly questioning his fitness for office. They also disseminated documents implicating a top Trump aide in corruption and suggested that they were investigating the matter, only to back away after the election. And they helped the Clinton allies research damaging information on Trump and his advisors, a Politico investigation found.
Wait, are you telling me that a foreign agency helped to try to to change the outcome of an election? Isn't that treason? According to the Democrats?
Yep. 100%. It's not when they do it, but when Trump does it, It is.
Again, rules for thee, not for me. Democrats are allowed to get away with absolutely anything. They're allowed to get away with murder.
And this is Politico. This is not a right-wing source. Politico is a left-wing, like
fact-checking organization that has done nothing but dunk on, or attempt to debunk and dunk on right-wing people for the last 20 years. At least since I was in college, man. People, they'd PolitiFact me all the time. I'd be like, man, that does not sound right. And they'd be like, PolitiFact says it's true, so you're wrong. It's like, boy, and if I cared to follow PolitiFact at the time, I probably could have gone in there and done some research. Like, well, PolitiFact is actually omitting some stuff, but like back then we didn't really have a. It was the infancy of the fact checking groups. It's like we didn't know what to do when someone came in with fact check false in college because it's like, well, I guess I am wrong.
Yeah. The internet said it. Some person on the internet said it. Therefore, it must be true. And that's the problem that we're starting to realize today in our modern society is that. The fact checkers are not only wrong, but they're also biased and lying to us most of the time. So how can you trust these? How can we trust these fact checkers? We're at that point. We're at the point where truth and the internet is where we'd go to confirm things. Now we're at that point where the internet's where you go to. I can't confirm this. I need to go in person to confirm this now.
Yeah, I mean
that's
like, and it's like with anything else. It's all astroturf. Like it's like modern movie reviews and stuff. You can't even trust you're getting an actual review from a person. It's just it could be a Disney Brigade bot that's going, "Hey, this movie was the 10 out of 10, the best movie I've ever seen in years." It's like same with a lot of these weight loss products or anything you see online. It's all astroturfed. It's all fake. All the reviews are lies, or they're getting paid to give you these reviews. Or, like in the case of movie reviewers with Disney and the big mainstream media outlets, it's like, hey, guess what? If you want to have access to early screenings, you better give us a positive review.
Yes, that is the rule, that if you go review any new Disney movie, they'll bring on any reviewer, like any YouTube reviewer, but they have a rule. The rule is if you give it a good review, you're allowed to give your review early. If you give it a bad review,
you're
not allowed
3 days after the premiere.
Yeah.
It's the 3 days after the premiere.
That's wild. Wild.
So, it's crazy. And again, that's the pervasive connection that can be made between all of it. Again, it's all astroturf, it's all fake. And again, is this a psyop? The whole Iran connection with the $1 million. Is this a psyop from the CIA, from the FBI? Yeah. I'd like to trust them. I want to trust them, but common sense tells me not to. I mean, they're just trying, again, it's like what I said before. They're trying to take a crap on the table before Trump enters office if he wins, he's inheriting a giant mess, and he only gets 4 years to attempt to fix it all.
Yep.
That way they can be like, Trump didn't fix any of the problems, even though Democrats crapped the bed 4 years before. He didn't solve any of the problems because he doesn't have solutions.
Well, hence, this is what we talked about before with Democrats always going after a younger voting base. Because if you go after the voting base that doesn't remember how life was before they became politically active,
they have nothing to compare it to.
There's nothing to compare it to. That's why the history is so important. Talk to your, family members and stuff. This is why a strong family, a strong connection with your family is the best thing to have, because I talked to my parents. I said, it's easy to fall into the left-wing doctrine because it sounds the most friendly.
Yes, it's the most amicable. It's the most they have a plan for the future, and they're going to tax the rich and make the middle-class life easier.
I don't want to destroy the planet. I want to save the planet. And I hear that Republicans want to destroy the planet. And it's no, then you talk to your parents who are your Christian conservative parents, and there's no, that's not what we want.
They said the world was going to end 7 years ago, so I mean, they're clearly wrong.
Mm-hmm. They said that we were going to be below sea level, 10 years ago. Still here.
Yeah.
They're buying, and Obama's and all your favorite, climate activists are all buying beachfront properties that would be well under sea by the time, they pass away.
Yeah. So it's just absolutely crazy. And, this is, again, talking to your family about history. It's look, I wasn't born whenever Jimmy Carter was president, but Jimmy Carter experienced during his policies and the stuff he was putting out, experienced the highest gas prices in history. And gas shortages. People were waiting in line at gas stations for hours to get filled up on gas. And then all of a sudden Reagan came in. It's how come there's not a gas shortage anymore? Maybe it's because he let people do business.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't overly regulate industries. He was like, hey, no, go get it done, boys. Make cheap gas and fuel. fossil fuels and low energy costs are the reason humans flourish.
Mm-hmm.
The cheaper energy is, the cheaper everything gets. And people are like, that can't be true. It's 100% true. The cheaper energy is, so your gas, your fuel, the stuff that powers your home, the stuff that powers industry, the cheaper it is, the more human flourishing can happen.
That's what, and you wonder why that Democrats are always the party of higher taxes and everything. Democrats' policies always go against energy production. They always go against energy production, or it goes to an energy production that's not nearly as reliable.
Like they go, but green energy's super sustainable. It's like, yeah, but the wind ain't always blowing. The sun ain't always shining. And again, these massive energy farms that they're building, like, I mean, when they break down, we have no way to recycle them. They just bury them. It's like a lot like Elon Musk's Tesla cars. Like, as great as they are in theory, like, there is no way to reuse them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just literally throw them out in a junkyard or in a field somewhere, and they just go, we can bury them. That's about all we can do with them. Mm-hmm. And people are like, that can't be true. It's like, it's totally true.
Yep.
So again, just if it sounds too good to be true, it's because it is. And again, all the things that Democrats promise, it's like literally, it's heaven on earth. And those of us who are Christian, we just know this world is not our home. So we can't create, look, we can do our best and be good stewards of the earth while we're here. And that's what we're called to do. However, we ain't creating no paradise here on earth because it's never going to happen because we are flawed creatures. It's never going to happen. And, that's the problem with that. That's the great political divide. It's like the people who don't believe are going to be like, if I have to create heaven on earth now, I have to, it's like if I don't make it big as my little liberal arts major and do all this stuff, it's like my life's going to be miserable. It's like, no, your life won't be miserable. It just won't be fulfilling because you're looking for fulfillment in the wrong ways. Mm-hmm. It's like you're looking for acceptance of the world. It's like you want to be a movie star. You want to be the next Tom Cruise or whatever. It's like, look, you can try to do that, but like I said, if you're not honoring God while you're doing it, you're living a vacuous life. It's like, because you don't get to take any of this stuff with you when you go.
Yeah. So the P. Diddy lifestyle looks very entertaining at first, and you find out how truly evil and depraved
it is. And it's like, and is it really going to be worth it when you're spending the rest of your later life in jail? Yeah,
and at the cost of your reputation
and your soul, and more importantly, your soul.
Yep, your reputation, your soul, your life. I mean, he'll probably be spending the rest of his life in jail if he doesn't get Epstein beforehand.
Yeah, no kidding. So it's crazy. And like I said, again, another 3-letter organization working with Diddy. Like, I mean, like, they probably told Diddy, these 3-letter organizations, to say, hey, yeah, no, just get underage girls. And again, same as Epstein. Like, the 3-letter agencies had to be aware of all this. They go, and he'd be like, I'm selling you. Like, it's like what Tom Cruise did in that stupid, well, no, it wasn't stupid
American
movie.
Made.
American Made. It's where he goes, I don't care what you do. You're going to have to pay your own bills. But so how he paid the bills was drug running, but he was going back and forth doing the drug gathering information for the CIA on the cartels. Mm-hmm. But he still made money drug running. Same goes for P. Diddy and Epstein. They were probably kidnapping and doing unsanctioned business with underage girls. And the FBI was like, we're aware of you, but we want the information and the blackmail that you can get on these people, so we're going to pay you to be one of our informants. Same with, again, this is what I think Diddy and Epstein were both involved in. What did the CIA and FBI?
I wasn't the biggest fan of the movie, but the
Sound of Freedom?
No, not that one. The one, Snowden, the Snowden movie. I thought it was a decent movie, but he was trying to become a CIA operative or agent. And what was their job? It says it in the thing. What's your job in the
leverage.
CIA? Leverage. Your job is leverage. They don't care what they did. Like, they unethically got that one guy, he was hanging out with that one dude. Mm-hmm. They got that guy drunk. He had a incident on the road where he wrecked his vehicle, and they're like, don't worry, we're going to cover up everything for you, but we own you now. Anytime we call you,
answer the phone.
You answer the phone. And nothing will ever happen of you with this little, drunk driving incident.
So people like Epstein and Diddy have the tapes for anybody. So it's like Tom Hanks, Leonardo DiCaprio. It's like, we need you to go work as an informant for us to go to one of these other countries and get us an in or something like that. That's probably what's going on. Epstein and Diddy had leverage on all these people because they had tapes of them doing things with either, maybe it's because it was just because they were married or because they were with underage girls. But again, the FBI is aware of it, but they're not doing anything to stop it. which is sad. And that's what I think's going on here. So Diddy has outlived his usefulness, and either they're going to give him a plea deal, he's going to get Epsteined, or a lot of chickens are about to come home to roost. So that's my opinion on all of it, but why don't you read this little thing you pulled up here underneath me, and then we can close out for the day.
All right. We're going to end it off on more of a funny note, but it's Defiant L's, and he posts, losses or loses from the from the left all the time. And it says here, he says, I swear it's like they want me to meme them, is the joke here. You can't see it, it's just out of frame. It says, Washington Times, Harris campaign hits Trump with chicken label over no third debate. But if you just remember, before that, Harris rejects Fox debate with Trump, and that was on August 4th, 2024. And now we're in September of the 23rd, 2024. So he asks her to debate. She says no. And then she calls him chicken for not debating her. That's how this works. That's how this works, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. So again, that's about all we've got for you today. We actually ran way longer than I thought we were, but we just kind of had a lot to talk about, and I always go off on rants and tangents. So sorry about that. Ran a little long, but that's about all I've got for you today. I hope that y'all have a wonderful day. This is the Twins with Owasso Live. We are signing off. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. God bless you.
See you later, everybody.